What's up, people? We are back. And by we, I mean just me and Mark. So, episode 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on episode 9 of Shadow of the Demon Lord. And like I said in the previous episode, Mark is going to be doing this specific section by himself. The guys are actually outside. They will not know what is happening right now. The only way they're going to know is if they watch it. Once it posts online. But unfortunately, we're going to be doing the very next bit directly after this. If we get through it fast enough. So just to recap what happened before this, before we start up. Mark's character Halo, in the 6-month time frame after he had kind of gotten boosted up a little bit, by leveling up. Chartered a ship to the Teeth Islands to go and try and get trained in storm magic, he hopes, by Drusilla, the sea hag witch that lives on those islands. About 2 days into the journey, he came across a kind of deserted floating ship in the middle of the ocean and proceeded to get yelled at and pointed at by things that couldn't move and almost acid spitted to death by giant worms in the captain's cabin. Found nothing, got off the ship, almost drowned by stepping onto the gangplank and forgetting that he was too heavy for it. Yeah. And then got back on the ship and took off and eventually got to Drusilla's keep, which he inadvertently punched his hand through, ripped the doors off its hinges, and was standing there like, hi, while Drusilla was going, what the hell?
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
your door was weak and molded. That's my excuse.
Yeah, that's your strength issue. The door was weak and molded. Okay. So so at that point we're gonna get back into it. So as I said before, knocked on the door, failed a strength check, punched your hand through it, failed another strength check, and when you tried to remove your hand, you ripped the door off its hinges.
Yep.
And meanwhile, Drusilla is sitting there in her, what looks like a throne, reading a book, and she looks up and, yells, "You! I thought I was done with you. I never thought I'd have to see you again." So what do you do?
I ask her, who am I? For the most part, because,
All right, so you just so that's what you ask?
Yeah, who am I? And the reason why I'm asking, to make it seem like I'm not using any metagame knowledge, is because she claims to know me, and I've never met her, so...
she looks at you and goes...
Well, I think the better question would be, who am I to you?
Alright, So she looks at you and goes, "Oh, I know who you are, and I know who you are to me. I'm not telling you anything. So the best thing you can do is leave right now."
Well,
all right. Roll a perception check for me.
1.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just know that she's on a chair.
Yeah, you know that she's angry, but you also just kind of, your eyes just kind of glaze over, and your mind wanders off into the distance, and you hear the distant echo of a bird out on the ocean. So, all right, and she gets down off of her throne chair and starts walking towards you, and when she reaches you, she you see lightning kind of curling around her fist, just kind of streaks coming off of it, not like huge ones, but enough to where it just seems like her hand is flickering. Mm-hmm. And she punches you. So let's see. All right, roll an agility. Seriously?
Yes.
Wow. All right. Well, still, she. Yeah. So, take 8 points of damage. It's lightning damage, so it does.
Oh, wait, was I healed from the battle on the ship?
Yeah, you had
Okay.
sailed like 5 days. So you had
Okay.
healed. You had tinkered and worked on yourself a little bit, but yeah. I mean, all it really took was just a good scrub down for the most part. So, all right. So, all right. So she hits you. Now, do you react, or like, do you react to that, or do you just take the hit and just try to continue talking to her?
I'm a rational robot, so I'll take the hit.
Okay. So, what do you say?
I say, well, that's why I came here to learn storm magic, and I proceed to pull out the book.
What the blasted book?
The one with all the undead language.
Well, yeah, that's the Necro book. That's still in town, back with the guys. You had taken the blasted book to get the last translation, the primal translation. Remember?
I thought it took the other one to trade it to.
No. Yeah. So, all right. So, we digress. All right. So you just hand her the book.
And I say, I can't learn storm magic, and I was hoping you could translate the primal that's written in this.
All right.
Either one will work.
All right. Well, she doesn't. Well, roll a perception check for me. There's going to be a lot of perception checks in this.
16.
Plus.
1.
All right, so 17. All right. Well, as you say that and you kind of, start to hand over the book, you see her eyes look down at the book, but inadvertently look like towards your shoulder for no apparent reason. Now, like, where you noticed that she was looking was actually the nameplate that's on your shoulder, that was, bolted into your shoulder.
Yeah.
And she looks at that, but, you just notice it, very quickly, but she doesn't say anything. And, and again, she just kind of looks at you and goes, why would I help you? I don't even like you anymore.
Anymore?
All right. I'm glad you picked up on that. All right. So when she says stuff, like, kind of decipher it, but yeah. All right. So, yeah. All right. So you said any more questioningly?
Yeah.
And she goes, yeah, no, I'm still not going to tell you anything. You can just leave. So, and she says, I'm not going to decipher anything. Now remember, you can try to convince her, persuade her, or whatever by trading something. But
I pull out my gleaming dragon scale. Like, is this any importance to you?
All right. Well, she takes it from you, kind of picks her teeth with it, and then tosses it back at you and goes, no.
All right. I'm like, oh. I don't really have anything.
There's always money. I'm saying that out of game character.
Yeah. I pull out 5 gold crowns and 3 copper pieces. Like, you want all my money? Is that enough?
Oh, and well, all right. She goes, I've lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. What do I need money for?
I don't know. To go to the whorehouse every now and then.
Okay. All right, take another 8 points of damage. Or all right, roll an agility first.
4.
All right, yeah. So take another 8 points.
Hey, at least it's somewhat realistic. I'm a robot.
All right, so you take another 8 points of damage. Now, do you just stand there and continue to try and talk to her, or do you react?
I put my money back into my pocket. I don't really have anything. Oh, and I do react. I react by using my slow so I can. That's an attack. I was thinking of using one of my time magics slow to slow her down, so that way she could potentially not hit me anymore.
All right. Well, you can try.
So each target must make a will challenge roll. On a failure, it becomes slowed for 1 minute. Target up to 5 creatures within medium range.
Okay. So go ahead and roll.
Well, that's just each target must make a will challenge roll.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, you have to make the will challenge roll.
I know. Oh, I have to.
Yeah.
All right. Well, as you start casting it quickly, she just kind of, snaps her finger, and nothing happens. And then she looks at you and goes, "You're really stupid enough to try and cast time magic on me in my own house."
I was hoping you would stop hitting me. I kind of just want to talk.
Yeah, well, at that point, she just goes no and just smacks you across your metal face. So take 1 point of damage.
Does she take any repercussions damage because it's made out of metal when she slaps me?
Okay, here, hold on.
'Cause that's
Yes, she does. She inadvertently breaks, fractures or breaks one of her own fingers. But she's just like.
I pull out a healing potion.
She kind of looks at you oddly, and she just snaps her other hand, and her finger just goes back to normal.
Okay, and I just put the healing potion back.
So far, you've been lightning punched twice and slapped once. This is not boding well for you.
I don't know how to do this kind of stuff. I've kind of just been wondering, does she have feelings for my character, her main character?
All right.
That seems kind of obvious.
All right. Roll a perception check.
All right.
As your character to see if.
14.
Okay. All right, yeah. She, you seem to notice that she has a high level of animosity towards you. You're not entirely sure as to why, because you can't remember anything. Even because you had already had your memory, erased per se, so you don't know anyone, or you don't know her. But if you did know her, you wouldn't be able to remember anyways. But again, yeah, so you've noticed that, she has a high level of animosity towards you, and you started to notice that she keeps looking towards your shoulder, towards that plate again, she's obviously trying not to look at it, but she can't help herself but look at it. So it's like an inadvertent, facial tick, more or less.
Yeah, well, I turn my shoulder towards her with my nameplate on. I'm like, why do you keep looking at my nameplate? I'm confused.
All right. She kind of just throws up her hand and she's like, no, I'm not talking about this. Go away, and starts to walk off. So do you follow her or do you just let it slide?
I kind of just follow her. I'm like, I'm sorry to pry, but curiosity is what drives me these days.
All right. Well, she continues to walk, and she goes, "You're in my house. I don't care about your curiosity. Your curiosity died with my emotions a long time ago." And she kind of stops at "ago," and she's like, "Shit."
Emotions? What kind of emotions?
She goes, "No, go away. No, leave me alone."
I just want to learn some storm magic so you can beat up a bunch of demons.
And all right, at demons, she turns around and goes, "What?"
There's a gate opening up in the dark forest in a couple of months, and I need to learn storm magic so I can help out my friends and we can make sure the world doesn't go to hell. Quite literally.
Not that. And she just looks at you and kind of rolls her eyes and looks to the ceiling and goes, "Not this again." So
again?
And she goes, "Yes," I said, "again." and and for whatever reason, she just kind of starts to simmer down a little bit. But she looks at you and goes, "What's this book you wanted me to translate?"
I pulled back out my answer. I just need the primal. We don't know anyone who knows primal.
And she goes, "Well, nor would you. No one can speak primal except for me and you."
I stuttered there for a second, saying you. I mean me.
Yes.
Primal.
Yes, you. Yes, you.
I kind of turn away from her, from my hand up towards where my mouth would be. I'm like, I can talk to cats.
Oh my God. That's all you. Wow. Okay, I'm sorry. I just got broken. Wow, you can speak primal and talk to anything, and your biggest motivation is to talk to cats. Okay.
Well, as they say, cats can make over 1,000 sounds. Dogs can only make 10. Cats cannot be trusted.
Okay. All right. At any rate, so she goes, yes, you used to be able to speak primal. You notice, you start to notice that you're slowly wearing her down for whatever inexplicable reason, but like she's not fully there. Now, all right, so do you want to ask her anything specifically about you per se? Because like I said, she keeps looking at your nameplate on your shoulder.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask him.
All right.
Well, do you know my name? Because, I mean, this is the best that I got. And if this isn't my name, I'd like to know.
Oh, she goes, I'm not going to tell you your name. Roll a perception check.
16.
All right. Well, again, she tells you that she's not going to tell you your original name, but she again looks towards your nameplate as if it's something important. Now, bear in mind, your nameplate originally was bolted to you. Okay? Now, even though you're now a sorcerer, you haven't noticed any kind of like magical essence coming off of it. But it could be something that's at such an enormously high level, it wouldn't be something that you would actually detect. So, no. But bear in mind, this nameplate that's on your shoulder is actually of a different metal than the rest of you. It's not the same type of metal. It looks close to the same type, but it's not.
So like this is, referencing Skyrim, like how in Skyrim the Dwemer metal looks a lot like bronze, but it's not.
Yeah, basically. Or brass, yeah.
Brass, bronze, etc.
Yeah, anyways. So, all right, so what do you want to do? Do you want to keep asking her stuff, or do you want to just try and, or do you want to tear off the nameplate off your arm?
I was gonna reach over to my nameplate and try to pry it off.
Okay.
Is this upsetting you?
All right, so that's what you ask her, or that's what you do?
Yeah, I asked her while doing that.
All right, so make a strength challenge roll.
1.
All right. Well, you can't get your fingers in back behind the metal or get enough of a grip on it to pull it. But as you start doing that, she starts screaming furiously, "No!" So it's something that she is visibly worried that you're doing, and she lunges at you to try and stop you. But because you're 350-pound metal person, she doesn't really knock you over. She just runs at you and tries to grab your arm. But because it's because you have esoterically you're stronger than her because you're fabricated out of metal.
Okay.
So your hinges can put more torque on something than hers can.
Yeah,
all right. So do you want to make another? So do you want to try it again?
No, I'm gonna make a perception check to see if that's where my soul is bound to. That's what it seems like to me.
All right. So roll a perception check.
That is 18.
All right. So wait, perception. So 18 total, or is it 18 plus 1?
Total.
I thought your perception was a +1.
I know, it's 17 on the die.
Oh, okay. All right. So you finally start like to kind of peer through whatever kind of haze was there before, and you start to feel a magical aura like barely flicker, off this nameplate. But the difference is that, all right, so say that like the nameplate is kind of circular. On the back edge, how it would be a complete 90-degree fit, they're like the aura from the back of the nameplate is a straight line going forward to the face of the nameplate. So whatever this thing has, whatever kind of magical aura it has, is specifically made on the nameplate. So it stops at the back of the plate. It doesn't actually go into you. It's just because it's contact to contact. You get the feeling like maybe this is what has hindered your memory, or anything other, anything magic related beyond that. You're not entirely sure what it does. You just know that you now actually notice that there was a flicker of a magical aura coming off this thing. So again, do you want to try and rip it off, or do you want to?
Yeah.
All right. So she's still hanging on you, so you're gonna have to roll with a Bane for this one, unless you just flat out try and push her off first.
No, I don't want to hurt her.
Well, you don't have to hurt her. You can just kind of,
What if my
fling her.
check is a 20?
Just roll. All right, roll a strength to see if you can fling her off.
Okay. 17.
All right, so you fling her off. You not hard, but you fling her hard enough to fling her off onto the floor, so you can get her off of you. All right, so roll another strength check to grab at your plate again.
19.
Total.
Yeah.
All right, so. All right, so you get your fingers in back behind the plate enough and pull, and it actually starts to come off. It doesn't come off all the way, but you get it about halfway off, and you start. As soon as you do that, you start remembering a few things, but
I can't really recall what.
Yeah,
it
you
is.
can't recall it, but but you feel like there's something at the back of your mind itching to to come through. So roll another strength check.
11.
All right, that was actually enough. Well, actually, roll me a boon with it. So
4.
all right, that's enough to where you can just flat out rip the rest of the plate off, but because you're holding it, it still is kind of hindering your memory. So do you want to just toss it off into the floor?
I hand it out to her like, here, I got it for you.
Well, I mean, do you want to toss it into the floor next to her? All right.
Pretty much. Yeah,
All right.
Toss it towards her.
All right. So.
And can I make a perception check to see what her reaction to all this is?
Yeah.
Because that is something that I might want to know. To do so I'm just kind of on the floor or whatever.
Yeah. So when you throw it into the floor, she visibly and violently reacts. She's like, "No!" That kind of scene where where a woman who has just gone psychotically angry and is ripping at the sides of her face and trying to tear out her hair and just looking like a complete batshit crazy woman. That's basically what happens. Didn't mean to offend any women that may be watching. Disclaimer. All right. So that happens, but when you toss the plate next to her, she violently tries to get away from it. She is running away from this plate because she knows what it does. But after you toss it away, all your memories start flooding back in a very extreme way. And your eyes kind of start glowing because of that. Now, once that happens, you start to remember everything that had happened beforehand. So here, hold
in
on.
a logical sense, wouldn't due to the extreme rush of memory regain, my in-game character fall to the ground?
No.
Confusion.
No, it would no. Well,
Because it's logical in a sense.
Well,
I mean, that is too human though. So I mean,
Make a will roll.
alright. My will's 10, so I get nothing plus 2, so it's a 6.
All right. Yeah, you're kind of stunned. You don't really like go down per se
Alright.
because you have like in-body servos to keep
Yeah.
you from.
Gyroscope.
Yeah.
That's everything.
Yeah, more or less.
Alright.
And so you don't really go down, but you are kind of dazed and stunned for a couple of seconds.
Alright.
Now, at this point, because Mark actually was able to rip the nameplate off of his shoulder, or Halo was able to rip the nameplate off of his shoulder, we now have to stop for a second because he is fixing to get a massive boost
To everything.
to pretty much everything. And when we come back, we will tell you and share with you all the wonders and the excitement and the happiness he is fixing to endure, for lack of a better word. So we'll be back in a second.
Thanks, Drusilla.
Yeah, thanks. We are back. So at this point, Halo, who is no longer Halo anymore, who finally remembers his actual given name, which is
Hector.
All right.
Stroganoff.
Really? All right. Fucking white people. All right. So, all right. So he remembers his given name, and immediately remembers that he actually used to be human, but has lived a very long time, just almost as long as Drusilla, because as his memories start flooding back, what he finally realized is that he did used to be, in fact, a sorcerer, hence why magic came so easily to him, per se. But he actually knew time magic originally. This was what?
And we kind of tricked the other team members that they thought that I was giving bad rolls.
Oh yeah, we
use all the die.
Yeah, we bluffed the hell out of them, and they were so pissed. They thought that he had just flat out got flung on his face and got waded through shit. So that didn't actually happen. So, anyways, all right. So so back to the story at hand. So when all of his memories started flooding back to him, he realized that he had originally had known time magic, but had traveled to Drusilla back when he used to be human, and eventually she agreed to train him, and they, for whatever reason, had been kind of so had lived around each other for so long that they had started to become close. But as your character started to become more and more obsessed with magic and had become more and more powerful, he eventually started to ignore her in the pursuit of knowledge and magic. And so that spurned her affections, which made her create that nameplate, which was a cursed object, which erased all of your memory, except for time magic, for basic time spells. Now, but here's the thing, though. Because you had become so obsessed with teleportation, battle magic, rune magic, storm magic, protection magic, and technomancy magic, you had basically just figured out how to engineer yourself a clockwork body. That's what you're now inhabiting. You transferred your soul essence to this clockwork, so you would never age again. Yeah, so this is something that you know how to do, how to actually transfer soul energy to clockwork bodies. So
could I essentially do the opposite? Could I essentially do the opposite?
Yeah, you could essentially do the opposite, but now here's the thing. This is the reason why you've been able to become so old, is that as technology has gotten better and better, and metallurgy has gotten better and better, you've created you moved yourself into more improved bodies, so that way the metal doesn't age nearly as much. So that way you don't have to, transfer again for longer and longer periods of time. Now, but because of that, you remembered that kind of all over your body there are certain runic symbols, which are just ingrained into your body, which kind of help you get, which are kind of protection magics mixed with battle magics. And battle rune and
etc.
yeah, battle rune and protection magic, which have all been kind of ingrained into one. You figured out how to cannibalize certain spells and certain traditions along with other ones to make better, like to improve on certain things. So so this is something I forgot to do. What's your current defense?
My current defense is 15.
Boost it to 17.
So plus 3.
Yeah. So well, no, don't like yeah. Put 17, but like out beside it, like some like on your defense, in parentheses, write +2 for memory boost, or for runic boost, I should say. So whatever. All right.
+2 rune boost.
Yeah. Now here's the thing. You do know where your human body is. It's in Drusilla's keep. Now, but like it's in a point of stasis.
Like a cryostasis.
Yeah, it's kind of like more or less like a cryostasis. Now, also what the hell? All right. So you also remember that there is you also have a hoard of money in the castle. Now remember, it is still Drusilla's castle, but technically this is your money, and it was just staying there. She hasn't ever touched it, as far as you know. Now,
that's why she didn't want to take my money.
Yeah. Now here's the thing, though. Do you want to try and, because at this point you remember everything, and you remember like how from retrospectively, because you have lived now for so long without any memory, that it kind of makes you appreciate,
everything more.
Yeah, everything more, and also makes you realize like how badly you treated her. So do you want to try and fix and solve the situation?
Yeah, I was about to say, I was going to turn towards her and be like, I remember everything, such as my hoard of riches.
Now, all right, so when you say that, she goes, really? You get all your memory back, and that's the first thing you remember?
No. I was going to say that I was going to leave it to you, because I don't necessarily need it. It's just money.
Oh, and she's just kind of beside herself, because like money, she doesn't care about money. She never did. But she doesn't understand like how you can get all your memory back and still just seem like the same old person.
And I'm sorry about what I did to you before. That was me then. This is me now. I apologize. Curiosity certainly got the best of me. But now I wish to make it up to you. So that's all that I could think of doing for now, because I still have the other things that I need to do for my newfound friends.
Mm-hmm.
But when that's all done and over with, I would be happy to just be there for you.
So you wish to return here? Basically. All right, if you return here, you can't do what you had done before. She goes, I can't take that another time. If you come back here, you will stay here permanently. Forever. You can't ever leave again.
Well, whether or not if you do or don't want the money, I'd like to take a small sum of it, because my friends still need to eat.
You can do whatever you wish with it. I honestly don't care. I never did.
Yeah.
So she leads you off into your old room, and there, sitting kind of on an altar, is your human form. And again, not moving, not anything, just there. Hasn't aged in like hundreds and hundreds of years, but still is just there.
Okay, my body, does it look like an older man, or is it like a man in his 20s to 30s?
Like in your, around in mid-40s, give or take.
So, alright.
Yeah. So you started tinkering with, she had kind of helped you originally, because, you had started to kind of feel things for each other. And so she wanted, you to be able to, live longer. And that wasn't something that she could necessarily do by herself. So
right.
Yeah. Now, All right. So again, like in a small treasure chest, there's just it's nothing but gold coins, and it's like 500 gold coins. So do you like how much do you want to take? Because like she said, she doesn't need it. She never wanted it, but
Well, yeah, is there like any better equipment, like a better bag that holds more than freaking 50 pounds?
yeah, yeah. I mean, there's a bag in there that holds up to 100 pounds.
Yeah, I'll just swap out that because.
All right. Yeah, because it's a magical bag, so it doesn't necessarily it can hold 100 pounds, but it doesn't feel like it's 100 pounds carrying weight.
Alright.
Yeah. So.
But it wouldn't feel like that to me, anyways.
Yeah, more or less. All right.
I know.
So you grab the magical bag or the magical backpack, and how much gold do you want to put in it? Do you just want to take a small amount of it, like 100?
I was thinking of along the lines of 250. Half of it.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Go. Sorry about that, people. All right. So yeah, just go ahead and take 250.
That puts my total at 255. 3 copper pieces.
All right, so that's the last thing you want to do, right? Now, bear in mind that, like, in your room, you notice that there is, like, kind of outside of your room, because there is a balcony, but it leads out, like, often, well, not a balcony per se, but kind of like a back porch, quote unquote, and it leads off into, like, a bigger kind of courtyard area, and standing in the courtyard is this big, like, this fairly big sized, what could be construed as a clockwork mech suit. Like, you can actually sit inside of the thing. Like, you see that there's levers and stuff like you would see like on a bulldozer with a seat.
Yeah.
And so what this thing is, it's actually an eidolon. So an eidolon, people, this doesn't reference anything in Final Fantasy 15 or any other Final Fantasy game, so don't worry. Now, what this thing is, like I said, it is basically a giant mech suit. It has its own defense, its own kind of, its own stats, and Mark has all that. So, with the Eidolon, you do know because you actually built this thing.
Yeah.
And there is a button on this, like on its like lower leg somewhere, like near its calf, or a specific spot where only you know about it. But it's a button that you can press where this thing will actually collapse down into the shape, into the size of a small cube.
So basically, the Transformer cube.
No, well, yeah. Well, I was thinking more along the lines of like Dragon Ball Z capsules, but
I don't know that much about DBZ.
All right, well, don't worry about it. But yeah, basically the same thing, same essence. So this thing collapses down into a smaller, more compact form, so you can actually carry it around. So, but however, if you get thrown into the start of a fight, it takes a full action to like pull this thing out and press the button and let it,
So that would be an action.
let it expand.
Sure.
So, all right.
And would it take another action to get into it? Because that would be a movement.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, so at this point, you have learned, you know the full time tradition at this point. You know the full battle magic, storm magic, rune magic, protection magic, technomancy magic, and teleportation magic. So at this point, quite literally. All right. Now, by the way, you do take you collapse down the Eidolon and take it with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You put it in the bag.
Yeah.
All right. So once
equipment Eidolon.
Yeah, just put Eidolon.
So it's Eidolon.
All right. Now, at this point, is there anything else that you want to say to Drusilla? Are you planning on coming back, or are you like going to leave forever and try and let her get on with things and try,
Well, this time I remember what happened the last time. I wonder if I could ask about that. Like, did we pretty much do the same thing with the demon gate?
Well,
curious about that.
she remembers that it originally happened, but she wasn't there. You two never dealt with it, and this is something that you would know, that you had never dealt with it.
You just knew that it happened.
You just knew that it happened. However, you didn't want to be involved with it at the time. So
okay, so I don't really know anything about it. I just know that it has happened once before.
Yeah.
Hecker, man.
Jesus.
Alright, well.
Yeah, CJ and everyone keeps like walking by the windows trying to get like any kind of inference about what's going on, and we just keep kind of waving them away. So yeah. So all right. So at this point, do you want to try and like kind of solve things with her, or like bring it to a head, or what do you want to do?
I want to formally apologize to her.
Okay. All right. So you apologize to her, and let's see.
Whoops.
Well, hold on. She does accept your apology, very begrudgingly, mind you, but she does accept it. And at this point, you have the option. You can either just permanently stay away from her, or you can return, like she said at one point. But if you do, you will be there permanently. You will never. I mean, you can leave per se, but you will always have to come back to her. You can't like leave and then stay away for like 100 years and then come back and be like, "Hey, I'm home." So
yeah, I understand that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So
like when I get dealt with the demon forest dark hole thingy. I don't really know what to call it.
all right, yeah, just the demon gate.
Demon gate, alright.
Yeah.
I just kind of
You're
messed
fine.
up there.
You're fine. All right. So
when I get dealt with all that, I'll come back and.
all right. So you're telling her that if you succeed in closing the demon's gate in the dark forest, you'll come back to her.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So again, let's see. All right, so she kind of believes you. I mean, she doesn't like sense any kind of deception in your voice or anything like that, but she's a little skittish about it because of prior history. Yeah. She's using that to influence her. So, but she kind of takes you at your word, begrudgingly again, but she she says, well, I'll be here, and I hope you will come back. I wish we could go back to the way things used to be.
Well, that was then. This is now. New page in the book of stories.
She goes, yeah, very true. Maybe we can, start again, but for now, good luck, and hopefully you'll be back. And so at this point, she just kind of walks you out and kind of snaps her fingers, and the door goes back on its hinges, and the wood, melds back together. She went, and she just looks at you and goes, 500 years later, and you still can't knock on a door without punching your hand through it.
Well, some miscalculations in my power output.
And she just looks at you and goes, yeah, how many times have you used that excuse with me?
Well,
And she just kind of chuckles and goes, just go. She kind of, shoves you out the door and gives you a boot to the back of your ass, but she accidentally, she doesn't shatter per se, but like she sprains her ankle kicking you. So, yeah, she just is like, damn it. She snaps her finger and heals herself, but yeah. So you go back down to the boat, right?
Yeah, and I tell them, hey, you guys can start heading on back to town. I'll meet you guys there.
And all right, well, they don't really understand like what you're meaning by that. So do you just kind of tell them, "Don't worry, I got this. I'll be there."
Yeah, and then I proceed to open up a teleportation portal gate in front of them, and I step through it.
And all right, and so you just travel back to landfall.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you bamf back to landfall.
Hang on. Okay, this is more just like for fun.
Okay.
Like, can we do like a random roll check to see if I like end up in like a random, totally like accidental place?
Okay.
Like the
Go ahead.
to be frank, at the whorehouse, or like the like just end up somewhere that I wasn't intending on going.
Okay.
Got a 15.
All right. Yeah, you wound up exactly where you wanted to be. So you bamf directly back to the Church of the New God, and like, but yeah, you like literally appear right in the middle of the church, but everyone who's known you doesn't understand how, because from what they remember of you, you were
just
you were just an expert level, sorcerer. So they didn't really they don't understand like how you could actually do that, because this is something that is only done by mastery level teleportation magic for the ones who have studied it. And so they're like, "What the hell's going on? Are we being punked? What?"
Like at this point, I'm like, calm down. And like, I guess they could notice that my nameplate is removed.
Yeah, and you are dressed in like different clothes, like because back on the island you had like an entire closet full of like master level robes and whatnot. So you actually had put one of them on, so you look quite differently. You're basically dressed like the Archmagus is dressed,
right.
for the most part. And when the Archmagus does like come down, he sees you and sees like what you're dressed in, and he's just like, "I see you found what you were looking for, didn't you?"
I'm like, yeah, I know everything now.
All right,
well I don't know everything. I just know what I know.
All right. And he goes, "Okay, well, you can stay here if you wish." So, do you do that?
Yeah.
All right, is there anything?
If there's anything you guys would like to know, I'd be happy to help you.
Okay. All right, and on that very good note, that is where we are going to end the episode for for Hector's story. Yeah, so
change. Gotta get used to it.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get used to saying Hector instead of Halo.
Well, it's gonna be a little hectic getting used to saying Hector all the time. Yes, I had to do a crime. I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. So on that note, everyone, that will be the end of episode 9. We hope that you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave comments down below if you want to see anything else, or kind of have any ideas to kind of make this better for everyone. And we'll see you on the next go around. So see you.
Adios.